Yo, welcome to episode 10 of The Rebuild. Thank you for tuning in again, as I always say. Definitely appreciate the love and support. Episode 10, what is my purpose? Episode 10, what is my purpose? Now this week, this episode will be a little bit different than the typical episodes that I post. This week, it won't be so message formatted. It'll more so be like personal experience conversation and me giving my idea of how you can find your purpose and my idea of the right way to find your purpose. And, you know, this ain't just theologically tested and scientifically proven and, you know what I'm saying? But it is from my studying, and I genuinely believe if you apply it, you will easily run into your purpose. But it is a catch to it, of course, or it wouldn't be a podcast episode, right? Piggybacking off last week's episode, Thirsty. If you haven't checked that out, definitely a great episode to check out. One of my favorite messages. But piggybacking off that one, we talked about the woman at the well and how we are all the women at the well. How we're all at a well thirsty for acceptance. How we're at a well thirsty for love, and how we're at a well thirsty or desperate for redemption. And the quality of your life is determined by which well you choose to take your drink from. Whether that's the worldly well or that's the well that Jesus offers, which he promises to give an everlasting well within us. But a point that I left out last week that I could have put in, thankfully I didn't, because it's its own conversation now, is we're all thirsty for purpose. We're all thirsty for purpose. And we, just like last week, we're at a well where we can decide, do I want to take the worldly idea of what purpose is? Or do I want to take Jesus' idea of what purpose is? And purpose is so big because the world has kind of like mixed up in our minds that the things that this woman was thirsty for can be fulfilled by your purpose. Oh, you a little desperate for acceptance? Find your purpose. Oh, you desperate for love? Find your purpose. Oh, you desperate for redemption, a meaningful life? Find your purpose. But that's completely opposite of what happened in this story. See, this woman woke up random day, not expecting nothing major to happen, going to the well at the wrong time because that's how she had been socially viewed as a social outcast. Just waking up to her normal day, and she encountered Jesus. And that led her to her purpose. Because after Jesus spoke to her and he healed her desperation for acceptance, he showed her that he loved her, and he showed her that he forgives her, and that there's nothing that she has done that can't be forgiven, and that can't be redeemed, and that can't be used. That led her to her purpose. Because it said, the woman took the hen and left. In her confusion, she left her water pot. Back in the village, she told the people, come see a man who knew all about the things I did, who knows me inside out. Do you think this could be the Messiah? And then it goes all the way down to many of the Samaritans from that village committed themselves to him because of the woman's testimony. He knew all the things I did. He knows me inside out. They asked him to stay on, so Jesus stayed for 2 more days. A lot more people entrusted their lives to him when they heard what he had to say. They said to the woman, we're no longer taking this on your say-so. We heard it for ourselves and know it for sure. He's the Savior of the world. And that's the biggest twist right there. Right there in that. We can end it right now. We can end it on a 3, 4, 5 minute podcast this week. Simply because of this right here. She didn't go to Jesus asking for her purpose. She fell in love with Jesus and it led her to her purpose. She didn't go to Jesus saying, God, please use me. God, please do this with me, God. And nothing is wrong with that. But that doesn't come first. And that's what the worldly well is. The world tells you, oh, God is your servant, not your God's servant. Jesus is your servant. He does what you want. All you got to do is just treat it like a store that you going into with no money, but you asking for everything. And that's all good and stuff, but that's not the case. That simplifies Jesus so much. That makes him go down way below in your book, because no matter what, he glorified, no matter what, he is who he is. But you miss out on so much because you only look at him as somebody who can give you purpose instead of give you life. Because life comes with a relationship with Jesus, not the purpose that you chase after. And this isn't meant to be a cliche message. This isn't meant to be something that makes you feel like, oh, everybody say this. But if everybody does say it, I mean, it may, you may want to take it into consideration. Because I found myself doing it as well, being so overly ambitious. And as a young 20-year-old, you see so much of other people's life and how they seem like they going on trips and how they seem like they got it going on, or how they seem like they got this internship or they being used in this way. Well, oh man, they already got a job. You see so much of other people's stuff that it makes you go overly ambitious to do. God, give me this. God, give me this. God, give me this. Because it's desperation for things that purpose can't fill, but a relationship with Jesus fills. And that's the first thing. You got to fall in love with Jesus. And when I say fall in love with Jesus, you treat it like any other relationship. If you ran into your future husband or your future wife today, it would take time for you to get to know that is somebody that you want to spend your life with. You may like them originally, but over time of y'all building a relationship, you will begin to know, okay, this is somebody I want to spend my life with. Same exact thing with Jesus. Same exact thing with Jesus. See, this woman had a long conversation with Jesus. This is one of the longest conversations that Jesus has with a woman in the Bible. How I know it's long. At noon, he sat down at the well and the disciples went to get lunch. They were still talking when the disciples came back from town getting lunch. And if the disciples would have never came back, they probably still would have been talking, because she took the hint of, oh yeah, I forgot, it's still a Jew and Samaritan issue, so let me just leave. And that's how you fall in love with Jesus. Constant communion. Every single day, let me give him some of my time. Every single day, let my time be revolved around him, not give him some of my time. Let my time be revolved around him. And then just like your future husband or your future wife that you would meet would catch your heart, and they would do things that would make you be like, man, this joker's so sweet. This joker's so loving. This joker's so kind-spirited. That's the exact same way that Jesus would do if you give him time. You have to give him time. We read the Bible one day and then be like, didn't nothing really happen for me. We go to church one Sunday and be like, didn't nothing really happen for me. But you have to give it time. You have to give it time. The beautiful thing about falling in love with Jesus instead of falling in love with this idea of a purpose is a love for Jesus gives you purpose, but purpose doesn't teach you the love of Jesus. A love for Jesus gives you purpose, but purpose doesn't teach you the love of Jesus. Why is that a point? Because people are attracted by the difference that is in you. People are attracted by the Jesus that is in you. When you love like Jesus, people are attracted to that. When you carry yourself like Jesus, people are attracted to that. And it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing, bro. It's not a never ending process. From the biggest minister that you see who may be preaching on purity and preaching on things like that, they still, even them, have to wake up every single day and put on the armor of God and say, hey, I'm avoiding what I used to do and choosing what, and moments you will fail. Moments you will fail. You may fail more times than not. But that's the beauty of Jesus. He didn't come after a perfect woman at the well. He came after a woman who was continuously failing time and time and time again. And here's the beautiful part. Her failures didn't stop her from seeing her purpose. But since she fell in love with Jesus, it led her to her purpose. It led her to her purpose. And falling in love with Jesus is so important for a few reasons. First of all, and this is where I was failing at. Even to this day, I'm trying to rebuild my foundation the right way. Because I was rebuilding on the idea of purpose instead of the idea of Jesus. Oh, I want to do this for Jesus, as if Jesus needed me to do something for him, instead of falling in love deeply with Jesus. But once I got it, man, I'm telling you, it changed everything. Because I wasn't expecting my life to look a certain way, because my relationship already had me anchored. It changed everything. Jesus said, anyone who listens to my teaching and follow it is wise, like a person who builds a house on a solid rock. Though the rain comes and flood waters rise and the winds beat against that house, it won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on the sand. When the rains and flood come and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash. Sorry about that. But that's simple right there. How does this apply to my purpose and falling in love with Jesus? Because at the end of the day, point blank period, everything ain't gonna pop off the moment that you start something. Everything ain't gonna happen the moment that you start something. If God has put something on your heart or given you a revelation, if God told me, hey, you'll be a voice of a generation and I'll open doors for you financially, my life looks nothing like that right now. Nothing whatsoever like that. It looks the complete opposite. And that can be considered when the flood waters come. That can be considered when the thoughts of, oh, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing come? That can be considered when, oh, did I really just waste my time and energy on this? Or that, all those thoughts rise. But I never give up simply because I have a deep love for Jesus and not just a love for a purpose. Not just a love for a purpose. And we see a lot of people. One thing that helped me so much with this podcast, bro, is even, especially in the baby stages of it, like I be having to remind myself, bro, you're just on episode 10. But like following people who were starting the same exact journey I'm on and seeing their commitment to it as well helped me so much, instead of following people who are already at a level that I would dream to be at. Like a podcast that's elevating, that's functioning at this level, dropping 2 episodes a week. They got this, like focusing so much on that led me to believe that mine wasn't impactful in the starting stages. But those can be considered storms. It may not be physical storms, but it's mental storms. Because you're being tested in a mental way of, oh, is this really something you was called to do? Is this really something that was meant for you? Is this, you know what I'm saying? But if I didn't have a deep love for Jesus, I would have been gave up on this. But really before I even started, like I told y'all before, really before I even started, because of the challenges and things that were occurring. But I had a love for Jesus that I wanted to share with others through a ministry. What has something you have given up on? What is something you're about to give up on? On my Instagram, I love Stephen Furtick's message yesterday, man. He was talking about how to see things that are small, that we think are small, are big to God. And one of the things that I got from is a lot of times we give up on stuff because it's too small. Or a lot of times we don't start things because it's too small. And we think people are going to be like, oh, why she still committed to that? Like, that ain't getting no views. That ain't getting no likes. She ain't getting no money from that. He ain't getting nothing. So we don't even start it out of fear of people saying that. Or we don't even start it because we scared our pride to get hurt if don't nobody like our video. Or if don't nobody show support. We don't even start it because our ego tells us, hey, bro, you really think you can do that? Hey, bro, you ain't got to deal with that. We're too scared of the small. But like Stephen Furtick said yesterday, it's like God brings the biggest things from the smallest places. But when it comes to purpose, you would have been like the people, like I love reading like books about T.D. Jakes. Go read somebody's book that you look up to, and they would tell you, hopefully they're authentic, to tell you their story. And they may even had it worse than you had it and still made it to a place that you admire, that you want to be. But you have to be founded on the love of Jesus. Secondly, bro, it's important because if this is the only way, like I said, to actually receive purpose, why would you continuously try different things after different things after different things? If a deep love for Jesus and a continuous relationship with him automatically leads you to your purpose, why would you continue to try other things? If this is the way, why go another way? And this is the best way because it changes you. Jesus changes your character while purpose displays your character. So you want purpose to give you that validation from others. You want purpose to make you feel love. You want purpose to give you a sense of, oh, I've been redeemed. Oh, God is on my side. You want purpose to do that. But Jesus is like, bro, I don't have to give you anything to do that. I want to do that. Having a relationship with me, I will show you you're validated. I will show you you're accepted. I will make you feel loved each and every day. I will do things for you that show you that you are loved. I've already done 1,000 things for you that show you you're loved, but I will keep doing it. I will show you you're saved. I will show you you're forgiven. I don't have to give you an obligation or a task, or because at the end of the day, Jesus is much more concerned on who we are than what we do. I'm going to always say that. And that I prefer it that way. Imagine serving somebody who only wants you for what you're serving them for. Like Tyler, how you did the podcast episode. Like Tyler, how you did this. You ain't did it, huh? But I could not drop a single podcast episode ever again. And I genuinely believe that Jesus would still be proud of me. I genuinely believe that God would still be proud of me. Because this is me functioning out of receiving my love from him, not a way that I receive love from him. Because your purpose is what you do for others. Your purpose is what you do for others. So you can't expect to feel loved when it's what you're doing for somebody else. You can't expect it to give you that acceptance when it's what you're doing for somebody else. And lastly, the few points that I'm going to give you right quick that let you know that Jesus being the foundation is so important to your purpose is because once you have a relationship with Jesus, it leads to a new perspective. It leads to a new perspective. Over time, what I think is so crazy is every single thing that we know we've been taught, even if it's self-taught. Every single thing we know we've learned from somebody else, or we've learned from another person, or we've learned from a YouTube video. Regardless, it's not a single thing that we came into this world knowing already. Like you didn't know how to change the tire when you came. You get what I'm saying? Every single thing you've learned. And my point in saying that is this. We've been programmed to think so many different things matter that realistically may not even matter. We've been programmed to think, oh yeah, this matters. This matters. This matters. If you don't do that, and that's why when kids are kids, you see so much differences in them. So many like their creativity, the way their personality is different, how different they function, and how they run around and they just genuinely themselves. But when they start becoming teenagers and they begin to realize the pressure of this is what makes you cool, this is what makes you lame. This is like when they start realizing what the world says is important, then they all begin to look like each other. They all begin to wear the same outfits. They all begin to listen to the same. You get what I'm saying? Because we've been programmed to think certain things matter that really don't matter, which in hand leads to anxiety. If the world say this matters and you don't have it, that's anxiety. That leads to anxiety. That leads to depression. Oh, my life doesn't look the way I want it to look. But your life may look exactly how God wanted it to look, and I know it does, because if it didn't look like He wanted it to look, it wouldn't look like it do. And if God wants it to look like that at this particular time, it must be a birthing coming out of it. It must be some type of fruit bearing coming out of it, regardless if it's a painful season, regardless if it's a good season. God has you where you are for a reason. But are you willing to see that? A love for Jesus gives us a new perspective, which leads to a change in habitual sins and a change in negative habits. A change in habitual sins. One day I want to give a psychology lesson on endorphins. Endorphins are our body's natural painkillers. It's our body's natural painkillers. And when you listen to music, that's why when you ride late night, listen to music, it feels so good to your soul. And, worries stop. They leave your mind and you just chilling. You may cry here because it's releasing endorphins. Or if you're playing the video game, it's releasing endorphins. Or, late night activities on a certain website releases endorphins. And I'm saying this to say, those are your body's natural painkillers. And over time, you end up continuously doing things that may comfort you, but it's really starting to control you, which leads to habitual sins, which leads to patterns, cycles, generational curses. Because generational curses are simply something that your family did to comfort the anxiety, to comfort the depression. You get what I'm saying? I hope this makes sense. That's what's inside of it. That is what's released. It's literally your body's natural painkiller. And what I want to do, I'm going to start studying on it. I'm going to give it one day. And I'm going to give us some new ways that endorphins can be released. So when you get stressed, because that's the biggest thing. When it comes to knowing your triggers, you got to know what triggers you are triggered by, but also what you go to have that endorphin release. It could be going to get drunk. It can be going to get high. It could be porn. It can be sex. It can be anything. But like in that moment, it comforts you from that pain that you're feeling. And that's why I love this little diagram where it shows that, how we view sin. We got one bar right here and another bar right here, one bar here. Because we view sin as like, oh, that's a worse sin than the other. But God views sin all together. So even when I mention sin, you may think, oh, I don't do painkillers. I don't take drugs. But you may gossip. And it's not even to call you out, but it's just to make us see that either way, we can easily become controlled by something that we think is comforting us. But when we begin to have a deep relationship with Jesus and a love for Jesus, it leads to a new perspective, which in hand leads us to start to realize, hold on, this thing is controlling me more than it's comforting me. This thing is costing me more than it's comforting me. Like, hold on, bro. I am too invested into this that, like, no. And then over time, you begin to have a change in those habitual sins and a change in your negative habits. When you're at your best spiritually, and I say quote unquote best because at the end of the day, this is just a trying game, bro. Like nobody's perfect. Like this is just continuously waking up and trying. If you're genuinely trying, that's what I call being at your best spiritually. But if you're at your best spiritually, I genuinely believe, at least in my personal experience, that you will be influenced to be at your best emotionally, physically. Like when I'm at my best spiritually, I'm also constantly working out because it's a certain type of drive that's in me when I'm at my best spiritually for me to be my best all around. So it's just like, that's why it's easy to think that God don't care about the small things. But why wouldn't I wake up, read my Bible, pray and stuff with God put it on my heart? Hey, bro, you might need to hit the gym too. I know he ain't just trying to call me fat or nothing. I hope not even. But why? Because he's interested in every single detail of our lives. So those negative habits of binge watching this show, eating ice cream all evening, every single day, will eventually stop, which is a good thing because working out and all those other things also releases endorphins. So once you're releasing those things, it's easy to stay away from those habitual sins and those negative habits. So a love for Jesus leads to a new perspective, which leads to a change in habitual sins and a change in negative habits, which runs right into obedience. Obedience. Jesus said, if you fall in love with me, you'll keep my commandment. And that's why I hate the saying of, I'm going to get my life together first and then come to when. How? Not even when, but how? How? If we could change on our own, you know how better the world would be, bro. Because I genuinely feel it's people that are functioning out of that hurt or that the way they've been programmed to think this matters and this matters, that they're doing things that are eventually hurting somebody else, which leads to that person functioning out of hurt. Like, if we could legit change on our own, I genuinely believe the world would already be a better place. But we can't. It has to be something. If somebody is saying, hey, let go of this, it has to be something greater that we're picking up for us to let this go and be satisfied with it. Because we treasure this. This is what so-and-so say is important. This is what we've grown up to think is important. This is what, and boy, I hate this one right here. When it comes to new perspective and obedience, I hate this one. Man, like growing up, seeing somebody on Snapchat, I seen this probably a while back. Dude was talking to some youngins, some young boys, and he was like, man, how many girlfriends you got? How many girlfriends you got? And he was like, one of the little boys was like, three. And it's all cool until they grow up and they really feel like that's the way you're supposed to be a man. And it's all cool until they're programmed to think, oh, if I ain't got a lot of girlfriends, I ain't cool. Or if I don't talk to a lot, you get what I'm saying? Those are the ways that we're programmed. And those are the ways that we create habitual sins. And those are the way that we create negative habits. And those are the way that leads us to disobedience. But when we gain a deep love for Jesus and we just simply give him our time and we simply revolve our lives around him and we say, hey, Jesus, show me. Hey, Jesus, show me where I'm missing the mark. Hey, Jesus, show me where I'm messing up. Hey, Jesus, not only show me, but influence me to want to do better. Influence my heart to not settle for that. Influence my heart to not want to keep doing that. It leads to a new perspective and a change in those things, which leads to obedience. And once we become more obedience, it leads to more spiritual freedom. We feel more connected. That's why I said you can't just expect to open this one time, the Bible, and just expect, oh my goodness, everything to pop off for you. It's a time thing. Over time, you will grow. Your mind will begin to change over time. You'll begin to cut off certain people, certain things. You'll begin to be more obedient because you adorn Jesus and you feel like, oh my God, I love him. I love how he makes me feel. I love what, he's calling me to do. I love everything. That you'll begin to feel more connected. which also leads to more joy, more contentment, more happiness, more fulfillment. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? And when you feel that, that then again leads to a deeper love for Jesus. And this is the point. When you get to a deeper love for Jesus, you'll begin to have a deeper love for yourself and a deeper love for others, which automatically leads you to your purpose. Which automatically leads you to your purpose. Once you begin to have a deeper love for Jesus, you begin to have a deeper love for others and a deeper love for yourself, which automatically leads you to your purpose. And we want to go through that backwards sometimes. We want our purpose first, and we want our purpose to give us a deeper love for ourselves, a deeper love from others, a deeper love from Jesus. But start at the bottom. Start at the bottom. This woman met Jesus first. She encountered Jesus. She seen that he accepted, he loved, and he redeemed her, which gave her a new perspective on her life. He challenged what was killing her, which gave her a change in her habitual sin, because she started to notice, this isn't really comforting me, this is really killing me. And every single day is a challenge. You have to wake up and choose not to deal with that well. It's so easy to go to this well, bro. I can't tell you how easy it is. It's easier to live out of a worldly well. But if it's killing us, man, we got to make the decision, hey, bro, I can't keep doing this. And if it'll get to the point in my life, even with some things today, I know it's going to get to the point, and even things that I have dealt with before, it got to the point where I was like, no. But we ain't even got to let things get to a certain point. Maybe that's what we need. I don't know. Maybe that's what we need. But point is, it gave her a change in her habitual sins and her negative habits, which additionally, got me right talking in essay terms. Additionally, it gave her obedience, because obedience is automatic once you gain a love for Jesus. It's a choice, don't get me wrong, but it becomes easier to obey somebody that you are genuinely in love with. You can't serve two masters, one will hate the other, one will love the one will love, man, I just fumbled the bad. Can't serve two masters, for you'll love one and hate the other. That's the same way. You can't go to this worldly well, and still expect to be fulfilled by Jesus. Because you'll fall in love with how that's fulfilling you and how that one is tasting, that you don't even care about the other one. But at the same time, if you fall in love with Jesus, you realize like that one wasn't even that busting anyway. That one wasn't sipping on nothing anyway. It wasn't talking about nothing anyway. And that'll lead you to obedience, which leads to more spiritual connection. And you'll begin to have greater reading sessions in your word. The Spirit will help you have greater worship moments. I mean, you'll become deeper and deeper and deeper invested into who Jesus is, and that leads to more joy. It's like, hey, bro, this is legit the life that I love having. Like, I love me. I love God. I love G. Like, I love life. And things may not have changed on the outside, but everything has changed on the inside. And since my perspective has changed, I have more joy. I have more contentment to live with today. I have more faith to believe that Jesus is on my side. So even if today isn't a great day or times haven't been good lately, I know my time is coming. And having more spiritual connection and more joy, contentment, faith, that leads to a deeper love for Jesus, because he will come through. And once you have a deeper love for Jesus, it automatically leads you to a deeper love for others and a deeper love for yourself, which leads you straight to your purpose. Yo, what's good? Thank you for checking out another episode of Rebuild. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and maybe comment your favorite part. I hope this was helpful. It wasn't necessarily just structured as a message, but I hope you got a lot out of it, and I hope that you have a great week and that you're blessed to understand that our purpose is already there, bro. We already have the gifts. We already have everything we need. We just may be missing a deep love for Jesus that automatically leads us into that. Have a great week, man.